Yo, Elliott.
Yo, so today we got a question from a bro who wants to know, yo, Elliott, from brand new to lifting at age 41, where should I start? Great question, bro. But before we go, you ought to know my name is Elliott Hulse. I'm a strongman strength coach. I've been making men strong here on YouTube since 2007, and you just stumbled upon your new favorite fitness channel for men over 40. If you're sick and tired of letting another year go by, and you're ready to make 2025 the best year of your life, then click the link down below or go to alphaschool.ai. I got something real cool on the inside that I think you might like. So question comes from one of our viewers. By the way, if you got questions for me, just post them down below. I'll take a look and I'll answer one for you. He says, 41 now, stopped working out at 31, wondering what will happen if I go back to training now, and can I still build a good bit of muscle? Yeah, sure you can. Absolutely. But with a 10-year layoff, you gotta knock off some dust, knock off some rust, and get the fluids moving again, dude, if you know what I'm talking about, especially if you haven't moved very much at all, right? Maybe you didn't play any sports or, rode your bike or, what do middle-aged guys do, right? You ever see the middle-aged guys on their bikes and the helmets and they're just spinning their wheels, right? You spin your wheels for 10 years or did you do absolutely nothing? We'd have to take in consideration both. I'm gonna assume you did nothing. You did nothing, which is cool. It means you kind of have like a clean slate, right? Because if you were spinning your wheels, then you'd have much more muscular imbalances. But you probably got muscular imbalances anyway because you probably sit all day. Anyway, there's two things in particular that I would pay attention to if I was 41 and hadn't lifted in 10 years, since 31. Two things that I would pay very close attention to. My movement capacity, your capacity to move, and work capacity, your ability to move in a repetitive fashion over an extended period of time. Do shit, work, right? So movement capacity means, well, before I get into the gym and I start adding extrinsic load to my body, I want to make sure that I can actually do the thing that I plan on doing. And if you wanted to build a functionally sound body, a structurally sound body, a structurally sound body that can function well, you're gonna want to do a little bit more than just machine training, just to pump up the muscle, build the muscle, right? There are guys that pump up and build muscle, but it's almost like for no reason. In fact, it's like an anchor. If your muscle is all show and no go, you just got anchors attached to your bones, and it really doesn't make any sense besides, I don't know, maybe you like the way it looks. And that's fair too, but I'm an athlete, right? I think like an athlete, train like an athlete. And so I want to be able to do athletic shit. That means squat, bend, push, pull, twist, gait. 7 primal movement patterns. So before you get into the gym and you start pumping iron or getting behind machines and just doing, one-dimensional, highly repetitive bodybuilding movements, I would check my squat. Like, can you squat? Can you squat down? Can you keep your feet on the ground and put your ass on your ankles, right? Can you squat down? Can you squat down? If you've ever had any injuries like me, you have a hard time squatting down. I don't squat down as well as I did when I was in my youth, right? I tore Achilles tendons. I've had problems, right? So that means if I'm gonna lift and I can't squat, I gotta find ways to compensate. But I want to compensate in a way that supports my overall growth rather than compensatory movement patterns that destroy your body even further, right? So for example, I have a hip shift because I tore my right Achilles tendon, so my hips sort of are imbalanced. I got a lot of tension on the left side of my left psoas and exterior obliques, and even my diaphragm on this left side, right? So if I'm gonna squat, I know I need to foam roll my spine. I gotta foam roll this area. I gotta loosen it up a little bit. Then also, I gotta make sure that if I'm gonna be squatting with my old injured body, I do better when I have a slant board under my heels, right? I got tight ankles. I tore my tendons. Right? And I walk a whole lot. I walk a lot, right? So, and then trying to loosen the Achilles tendon, trying to loosen the calves, it's like trying to stretch steel. It's like one of the hardest things to do. So I compensate by using a slant board under my feet, right? As far as the left to right imbalance, the frontal plane imbalance is concerned, I got to make sure that when I go down into my squat, if I'm not wearing a belt, which I try not to wear a belt all the time, I got to engage the rest of my core. So what I do is when I go about to go into my squat, I take a deep breath, and then I purposefully pull my belly in. I pull my belly in, belly button in, anus up, right? So I can lock in all of the surrounding core muscles to aid that really tense, overdeveloped left side. Because otherwise, the left side is just going to do everything, right? So I'll go into my squat, and then I end up like, wow, I got problems. I got problems with my left side. Maybe I need surgery. Go get me some drugs. Quick, get me some pain medication. Right? Shit like that. That's what you do when you don't understand your body. And if you haven't been lifting in 10 years, you probably don't have a very good finger touch feel for your body, right? So I'm giving you some things to sort of pay attention to. Now, I'm just describing my muscular imbalances due to my injuries and my misuse and abuse over the years, but I'm sure you got some too. Probably disuse as an issue, right? So, you probably sitting a lot. That's going to mean you're going to have some sagittal plane imbalances, bro. You probably need to foam roll your thoracic spine. You probably need to stretch your hip flexors. You probably got to engage your core also because of that your flexed hips from sitting all the time. Which leads us to, right, so that's movement capacity, right? Like, can you squat? Can you bend properly? Can you touch your fucking toes, right? Like a lot of guys, I get it, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving you my opinion. A lot of guys get in the gym, they start building up some fucking muscles. They can't even touch their fucking toes. That's not fitness. That's fucking around. That's just pumping muscle pumpers, right? Muscle pumping, right? And look, do what you want. But if you can't touch your toes, you're a slapdick in my opinion, right? Doesn't mean you have to be a martial artist. Doesn't mean that you have to be a jiu-jitsu player. Doesn't mean that you have to be a fucking acrobat. But basic movement patterns. Basic movement patterns. Can you touch your toes? Can you lunge? Can you lunge in a stable fashion, right? Which is like just split your legs, drop your back knee. But if your front knee's collapsing all over the place, your back knee's buckling in, you're falling, you can't even keep your balance. Like, can you even stand on one leg? Can you stand on one leg? Can you stand on your one leg? Stop right now, fellas. Pause this video. If you can't stand on one leg, can you stand on one leg and touch your toe? Go down and touch your toe? Can you balance on one leg? That's sort of like your lunge, it's sort of like your gait. If you can't do that, then don't worry about building up a whole bunch of muscle on them unfunctional legs. But do what you want, right? And then there's work capacity, your ability to do stuff, right? And work capacity sounds pretty much like what it is. Do you have the capacity to do work? Not how many times can you bench press 225 because you're not going to be doing the NFL combine, but can you actually do work? And the best way to get in shape for just working is moving more. Like if you sit all day, then just stand more. If you take the elevator, you drive everywhere you go, or you get to the airport and you go on those roads that drag you along, start walking more. Walk more, right? I would say it'd be good to get into a routine that forces you to move in ways you don't normally move. Take a yoga class, right? Like there are movements that you'll never do, ranges of motion that you'll never go into unless somebody introduces you to it. It makes you do it, and then you're like, wow, I didn't know I had that back there. You start stretching shit, or you start moving shit, you start engaging shit that you're like, wow, I didn't even know those muscles existed. Why? Because, you're just a muscle pumper, right? I just know quads and bis. I know bis and tris and pecs, right? That's what most guys know. It just depends on what you want, once again. Like, if that's good enough for you, then that's fine. But if you really want to go into the second half of your life, you want to maximize your health and your fitness and your movement capacity, your work capacity, your being, and you want to know how to move and you know how to work. Sled dragging is a good way to work. I like odd object shit, right? Like just carry some dumbbells. I call them farmers. Call them farmers carries. Flipping tires. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Carrying sandbags. You carry a sandbag on one side, carry a sandbag on the other side back, right? So you can work the frontal plane, right? Or you could just ignore everything I'm saying and just go sit on some machines at the gym and you look at the old guys next to you and realize that that's your demise.